Every single book is not worth a film adaptation. Sometimes, just leave it on the paper. Welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Monster, available right now on Netflix. Now, this is an adaptation of a book. This is a young adult novel. Before we get into what I thought about this movie and who I think that this is trying to speak to and why I feel like this felt a little dated and a little late, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things. I'm a little sick, y'all. Hold on. Just hold on. Monster. Hopefully subscribe to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. Now, I swear, y'all, like I knew, like I be knowing from the trailer that this was not going to give me anything that I was here for. Now, with this being a young adult novel and the young man here being a 17-year-old, film student who has his whole life ahead of him, and in a blink of an eye everything's changed, and he's facing jail time, and we have this whole courtroom drama that's happening. Everything here for me seemed really late and really dated, even if this is not supposed to be for my particular audience, and it's supposed to be maybe for a young adult. But how young are these adults we're talking? Because for this to really resonate and be shocking to anyone, you would have to be, I don't know, about 11 10. I thought it was going to give, a bit more, with the title, Monster. Have I read the book? No, I have not. No, nobody coming in. You didn't even read the novel. You didn't. It should resonate with me anyway. No, I did not. But just based off of this, it seems so late. Like, this seems like a movie that we might have gotten, 95? Just with the climate, especially the current one now, as far as what's happening in courtrooms with our, our young man, our black young man, like, it was just like, it was giving me, So getting into the story, we, have this robbery take place. We don't really see what happened or, who did it, but we see, a tussle back and forth with the gun, and we are assumed that the owner of this bodega is shot and he's dead, and we're trying to figure out exactly what happened. The story takes its time, going back and forth. It's not, consistent straight line. It's like, no, we're having flashbacks and things that happened prior to Steve Harmon being incarcerated. But things go as to be expected. Of course, he is 17 years old and he's in this jail with all kinds of men. So, you get the hackling, the intimidation, him being uncomfortable, him being frightened, and all those things which are to be expected. Once we get into, I did not understand him having a public defense with his he's do well family. They have this lovely brownstone. Father seems to be an artist. Mom, everybody seems well off. So for him to have this public defender, I was like, and then when we got into him having a public defender who actually gave a damn, I was like, everything here just seemed really stylized. It seemed like more of a play, like this would make, for really good, like Broadway, like play scenario, even with, the colors that were happening with the courtroom being, really gray and pops of white. Everything's really, color coordinated. And the way it started off, you know, with some of the music choices and the interrogations, you know, from the lawyer, it just seemed really over dramatized, and I thought the movie was going to change it to something else, but maybe this coincides with the novel, I don't know, but I just was like, okay. But we get into, you know, all the talent here on screen. Our young man playing Steve Harmon, this is my first time seeing him. He did a very good job here. Conveying emotions and really pulling you into his character. Great. And then we have characters like, you know, his father, Jeffrey Wright, his mother, Jennifer Hudson. You know, we have John David Washington here. We have A$AP Rocky here. We have Jarrell Jerome here. We have a lot of people here on screen. And we get like 5 minutes with each of them to, you know, get a little bit into their character. It's just like, we wasted all this talent for this. Like, y'all got some heavy hitters here. Y'all could have did something else. But eventually we get into a story that is supposed to, you know, pull us in. It doesn't pull me in per se, because we keep getting the same story of, you know, a young man with his whole life ahead of him and all these, you know, prospects, you know, no priors. And that for some reason just always, you know, like makes my ass itch. Because I'm like, I don't like that narrative that, you know, we have to care because, or they need a chance, or they're innocent because of these things. A lot of people don't have these things. There are mad ass people locked up in jail who don't have all this, you know, lavish background, you know, 2-parent household, brownstone, film student, film school, upper, you know, West Side established finest school in New York. We don't have those, you know, things at bay. So to have them put here on the front again as to why he should be, you know, spared and saved, and why the jury should care, and I'm not like them. Okay. We get into him, you know, being, you know, a film student, and he's into photography, and he, you know, races around New York, you know, capturing things. He's all about film and, you know, the future and going off to college. And, you know, he's enjoying his teenage years, you know, having fun with his friends, at which he meets A$AP Rocky. Now, A$AP Rocky is here to play A$AP Rocky. I was like, it was like they pulled him off of the dope set. It was like, we don't want you to do nothing different, have that same. I feel like if they gave A$AP Rocky a little bit more range to do more on film, that he could really act. But I just felt like we were getting dope here a second time, and it was, you know, you feel me, you get what I'm saying? Hey, you feel me, Slime? It's like, yeah, I feel you. But it seemed really repetitive. He is, you know, from New York. He does have, you know, that Harlem-esque ass swag, but we get it. But he's here, you know, to kind of shine a light on what, you know, our well-kept, good doer Steven character doesn't see. You know, oh, you're capturing this and this. No, you're missing the grime. You should, you know, be capturing, you know, people like me, people like this. Like, you don't see stuff that's right in front of your face. You just, you know, happy trailing along the New York streets. And he's there to shine a light on those things, but you already see right away that his interest in him is bigger than him, you know, just wanting to be his friend. He saw an opportunity, you know, to kind of set him up. And then we have, you know, him being in jail, and him, you know, made to, you know, feel uncomfortable, and he's scared, and we get characters, you know, like, not like, oh, Nas is here. Y'all, Nas is here, and he, you know, has little 1- and 2-liners, and it just didn't hit for me, because as a how tough the prison system can be for a young man like that, just to see the worst of what he had to endure in prison was, you know, somebody rushing him to get off the phone, someone, you know, making him feel uncomfortable, you know, taking his food, or, you know, a bunch of yelling back and forth. It was just like, yeah, just to know and see that there have been so many others who've had it much worse, and those were the least of their worries. Just to see it here, it was just like, this is cute, you know. But you know, you deal with him, and him holding on, you know, to his past memories, you know, his friends, him being in film class, him just being a regular kid, him, you know, editing, him, you know, trailing around the neighborhood, skateboarding, all those things, riding his bike. And then, you know, vice versa, we have, you know, the parents, you know, Jeffrey Wright was here. I love me some Jeffrey Wright. He be breaking that shit every time. Unutilized. He was here, and, you know, he, of course, brought presents, because that's what Jeffrey Wright does. He brings presents, but it was just, it was not enough here. just for him to really work with. And then, you know, we have Jennifer Hudson, who doesn't, you know, say a whole lot. She's just, you know, the mom that is, you know, just trying to, as well as the dad, trying to deal with her son no longer being here and all those things. But the narrative of the robbery that took place is Steve saying he had absolutely nothing to do with anything. You know, I just happened to be there. And once we, you know, get down to, you know, the nitty gritty of the story and we are introduced to John David Washington's character, I loved every second of it, because it was like he was giving so much performance for an unworthy film. He had his little teardrops, had his waves going. It was real, because, you know, we keep hearing talks of, you know, Bobo and this other person and the mix of, you know, the robbery, but we never actually see the person. So when we see him and he doesn't have much dialogue, he's standing around, he's intimidating. And when we finally do see him in the courtroom, you know, giving his all, it's just like, this would have been so good somewhere else. It's just like, what are you doing here giving this great performance? It just seemed it was such like a great scene out of nowhere with him in the courtroom, and, you know, A$AP Rocky, you know, like feeling like, oh, you snitch, you know, he was really doing good. And then we have, you know, characters like Jarrell Jerome, and it was so weird to see Jarrell Jerome, because we had just got those grand performances, which is another, you know, courtroom-esque drama with the Trailer Park Five, like such groundbreaking, you know, performances and, you know, investment in those characters. So to see him here and he's just, you know, randomly here as, you know, a lookout, is just like, I just, this movie, it did not resonate with me, but I feel like, you know, I don't feel like this was for me. And the narrative of the young man, you know, going, I don't belong here. I have nothing to do with that. This is not me. And you have, you know, the teacher coming in to speak on his behalf. You see his flashback with his friends, you know, the beautiful brown skin, you know, girlfriend, him, you know, around the neighborhood, and him, you know, as a brother. And it's just like, I'm better than this. Okay. But, I just don't see, you know, fellow 17, 16-year-olds looking at this going like, wow, they can do that? They can come and snatch you out of your home, you know, when you're just chilling with your parents. They can, you know, lock you up in there with, you know, man, you know, way above your age, and, you know, mistreat you. They mistreat prisoners. Like, the jury doesn't really care. You got to go out of your way to prove that you're innocent just because you're black and you're in a courtroom. Hell yeah. We know that. Everybody knows that. So to see it here, it was just like, oh, that's cute or whatever. So once we get, you know, towards the end of the film, after we've, you know, really built up this character, you know, as a, you know, a good boy, and, you know, A$AP Rocky as, you know, some straggler around the hood, you know, up to no good, and, you know, his parents as, you know, waning, and, you know, they just don't know what to do. They feel helpless. And, you know, this great public defender, because we all know how great public defenders are, you know what I'm saying? It just killed me how much she was just so invested in his case, because I didn't know where they were going with that before, because when we were introduced to her, he's like, you know, you have all those cases, all of those are for you. And it's just like, yeah, I got, you know, this isn't even all of them. But we get, and she's just, you know, so motivated and trying, and it was like, okay. Once we get to the end, because we were working up to like actually seeing, you know, what happened, because you have John David Washington saying, you know, that was A$AP's dude. Like, I didn't really talk to him. I didn't know. He just told me this. And then you have the Jarrell Jerome character saying, yes, he was in on it. You know, we were all, you know, in on this together. And they have the little tidbit of him, you know, being involved in a gang. And, but once we get to the end, you know, after Nas comes in the cells and says, you know, hey, chin up, kid. Like, you got to rise above it all, kid. I don't know if that's what he said, but, you know, he was just here, just like everybody else. But once we got to actually seeing what happened, and from my viewpoint, it's made, because you keep getting, you know, the witness, the white woman coming out saying, you know, he took off his hat, wiped his brow, and signaled, you know, for them to come in. He was a part of this also. And he spent the entire movie going, no, I didn't see him. I don't know. We don't talk like that, blah, blah, blah. When we actually see it, you actually did. You actually did signal like, oh, yes, you did the whole little thing with the light, but you took off your hat and you did the nod like it's no one in there. Go ahead, and walked off. So I thought we were going to go off into, you know, other territory to go, yes, I was partially involved and I did, you know, give the signal, but I couldn't, you know, say my piece in their courtroom and really say how involved I was without incriminating myself and giving these jury any type of doubt, or they, you know, I would have been, you know, right where he was. No, we don't discuss it. He just goes home with this whole, you know, newfound appreciation for, you know, everything, and feeling, you know, semi-traumatized from his time in jail. It's like, I mean, was I wrong? Like, did he signal right? Okay. Movie didn't do much of anything for me. Would I watch it again? No. I don't feel like this movie is for me. If you do know who it's for, please drop down and tell me who it's for, or if you got anything from it, or if you read the book and some things are missing that are just, you know, really adamant to me, really knowing exactly what's going on. Because at that point, I was just like, you signal, right? That was a signal, and I thought we were going to have this, you know, dynamic, you know. Well, hey, I couldn't tell them I signaled. You know, where would that leave me? They already had, you know, a bullseye on my back just for me being here, me being black. Nope. He just goes off and keeps taking pictures. Okay. Well, you guys, that was my small review for this. I feel like at this point, we are really above movies such as this one. This did, as I said, felt really dated to me. Felt, you know, like you're a little late to the party, ain't you? you see what's going on? Y'all watching the news? Y'all don't? Okay. But, you know, guys, drop down, get the conversation going. Let me know what you thought about this film. If you, know, shared some of the same segments. If you did not, drop down and say that too. I love a good banter in the comments. I'll see you guys for my next review. Bye.